Fornhan.Ponsan, enroll now and become part of the story. There are two types of magic that we can make use of. Transmutation is the act of changing the elements present by either rearranging the chemical compounds or, in extreme cases, even break apart the subatomic particles. The first is the one that will almost 100% of the time be used. The second one is a concept that is only extremely recent and needs extreme knowledge of the atomic structure. The most prominent version of the second was the attempt of alchemists to create gold, but it failed horrendously every time. If you do not understand what you are doing, is this nothing more than the act of uncontrolled nuclear fission. On the other hand, the former is all about understanding the chemical compounds or reactions of a goal. This always will come with the asterisk of complexity doesn't mean better. While we could describe things in excruciating details thanks to all the advancements we made in the modern day, is this overcomplication worsening results. You always need to say things as detailed as necessary to not cause confusion and as simple as possible to still work. The second type of magic we can use is transfiguration. While transmutation changes something on the atomic level, does transfiguration simply change it on a macro scale? In simple terms, is this no different from if you would physically bend it in shape? However, can you do far more than would be possible with simple forces? However, can you not simply create any shape out of anything? If something consists of one material, the process is simple. This even extends to any homogeneous mass. As long as every slice, no matter how big or small you take, is indistinguishable, is transfiguration simple. On the other side, if you want to transfigure something complex like living wood, would you need to account for all the veins and cells in the plant, not getting distorted. This is why transfiguration of living beings is not only strictly forbidden, but also plainly impossible. The complexity needed to reshape a living being without killing it is beyond what is doable. On top, do all living beings have a holocron, which is shaped to its holohan. That means even if you would be able to shape the body successfully, would the soul be broken and shambles, most likely. And we lack understanding of holocrons due to our lack of magic, making knowledge on how we could reshape it non-existence. How these two forms are applied is up to your needs, but you always need to consider what you need to actually do. If you want to cleanse a mineral of other substances within, would you never use transmutation. Even so, you could burn away or melt all other substances. It is far simpler to reshape the material you want, as you know by definition that it is homogeneous. So simply moving it out will solve your problem faster and simpler. All of this means that you will need profound knowledge on chemistry to use magic properly. On top are there also other kinds of magic that we do not use, for one reason or another. First of all is there alchemy. This name stems from the original alchemists, or rather from what happened to them after they created mini nuclear explosions in their hand. Alchemy is the process of all magic a being has being released at once, mostly ending in an explosion, but possibly be usable for other purposes, and no matter how it is used, writing the end of that being. As far as we know, is magic embedded in the holocron. And even if you are able to make some being undergo alchemy, do they apparently lose their holocron in the process, going from what magical creatures tell us. Then there are diverse forms of holocron magic. While technically not being something that humans couldn't use, is it something you should refrain from, as, just like I stated before, is your holocron needed for your survival. We cannot do this magic ourselves, so we would need to trust a magical creature that it doesn't mess up regardless of why it would mess up. This also means that us humans can only perform these kinds of magic with magic societies and the upper levels of magical beings, as everything below would not be capable of understanding how not to destroy a stranger's holocron. One of the others that I should at least mention then is also Holosan Nim Kyobi. The act of exchanging holocron with other beings is not only extremely dangerous, but plainly impossible for 99% of beings. Not only humans, but all beings. I'm simply mentioning it because it is something that garners a lot of attention easily, and I cannot stop you from getting to hear from it. So instead I will warn you that you will not be able to survive it. I personally cannot talk too much about it, as I am not one of those people who would wager their life on some obscure desire, but if you ever feel like you absolutely want to do a Olusan Nim Kyobi, will you need to visit someone trustworthy to teach you about it in detail. This is not some joke. You will die if you do this unprepared. In terms of now applying this to magic tools, you always need to keep in mind that magic is inherently random. The reason why it is not used for machinery is because it is too random to work perfectly predictable over long terms. You will not be able to perfectly describe, and you will not be able to predict the exact outcome of magic. In practice, will you hardly ever come over this hurdle, as you will not care about the exact shape or heat of a flame, as long as it is where you want it to be, being hot enough for your task. How to use magic tools and how to make them then are, of course, two completely separate things. For tool creation, you need the creativity to work within the thin line of efficiency and possibility. As creator, you need to know what goals the tool is to serve towards, what magic is needed for that, and how to accomplish your goal with what the magic is capable of. But in the end, are you making it for others, and they are the ones using it. So you need to make it work in an understandable way. You can make the greatest magical tool. If you are the only one who knows how to use it correctly, you are the only one ever using it. There isn't anything wrong with making a tool like that for yourself, but it is an easy part to overlook when making for others. The other half is then those who use the tool. They are given something with some functionality that they can surmise from the spell circuit's use and by observing its effect. But ultimately, are you up to the mercy of the creator what you can do with the tool? You simply need to figure out how that can solve your issue at hand. It is also unreasonable for a tool creator to expect and a tool user to think that the other half could know all about the own. Creation of magic tools is highly complex, so you will spend lots of time to perfect the task, and those using the tools will simply read the inscriptions and get an idea, but hardly truly understand how it functions in detail. Then those who create tools equally cannot fathom all the real-life applications for their tools, as most of these tools are not made for everyday use. We already went over that. Electricity is saving the same purpose, but more efficient in everyday life. So even for those who are part of the magic world, would they struggle to know all what you need them for. If both sides then work together, we can even get something as spectacular as the Star Spirit Fires, the main attraction of the equally named theme park. Small flames that follow any visitor around, making them from the bird's eye perspective look like stars moving around through the park, with every person having a unique flame following them in terms of color, size, shape, brightness, and how they move around. It is understandable that after the effort of 50 mages over 2 years they would make such a commotion around them. Once a day filming it from the sky at random hours, only announcing shortly beforehand, or all the effort they went through that the flames would take the shape of an animal befitting of the flame so that the people get more attached to their own flame, and the entire slogan of the fire of your life that will change as much as you do, all for the purpose to getting people to come back. Such a spectacle was only possible because of people knowing exactly how to make tools that would serve the purpose of being usable by the users to make such a tumult around some simple fire magic.